everyone. Good morning. My name is Shannon Zooks, and I'm with Northwest Territories Tourism. Quickly, before we get into the presentation, I wanted to say a special hello and a special welcome to those of you on the call that I know and I've met in person. So welcome. Thanks for joining. A little bit about myself quickly. I moved to Yellowknife about 6 years ago from just outside of Toronto, Ontario. And I must say it's a different world up here. You know, experiencing it day by day and living up here, it's like nothing else in Canada. So I moved up here and worked for tourism, and it's been great ever since. So let's jump into the presentation. Where we are, highlighted in green is the Northwest Territories, located centrally in between Yukon on the left and Nunavut on the right, and above BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. The Northwest Territories covers 1,170,000 square kilometers, which means you can fit the state of New York, the country of France, and the country of Germany within the total area of the Northwest Territories, and still have room to spare. The total population of the Northwest Territories is 42,000 people, and 20,000 of us live in Yellowknife. To give some perspective, the Rogers Centre in Toronto is home to the Blue Jays baseball team. This stadium can seat every single resident of the Northwest Territories and still have room for approximately 10,000 baseball fans. Yellowknife is the Northwest Territories' capital city and welcomes daily flight service on Air Canada, WestJet, Canadian North, First Air, and twice weekly on Air North. Not shown on this diagram, Air Canada has recently added a new nonstop direct daily flight service to and from Vancouver, British Columbia. You can also access the territory by road. Driving from Edmonton, Alberta to Yellowknife is approximately 15 hours in length, but as I will mention later in this presentation, there are plenty of interesting stopping points along the way, and the road conditions are well maintained. The Northwest Territories are known for stunning aurora borealis. There are two aurora seasons that we promote in the Northwest Territories here. The first is our fall and autumn season, which occurs from mid-August to early October. During this season, you will see the beautiful fall colors and the aurora dancing across the lake, which is one of my favorite aurora photo ops. Also a bonus for those who don't prefer the winter and snow but still would like to experience the northern lights. This would be a great time for you. The second season is our winter season and longer season to see the northern lights, running from mid to late November to early April. The reason why we don't promote aurora typically in October and early November is the fact that we see most of our snowfall during this time, which causes a lot of overcast and very little aurora. During the two aurora seasons, there is approximately a 97% chance of seeing the aurora, which is higher than anywhere else in the world. The next few slides are taken directly from a report provided to us by Astronomy North. They have partnered with the Canadian Space Agency and the University of Alberta to monitor the aurora in the Northwest Territories. They have provided the science behind the aurora to us to share with our stakeholders. This slide outlines the aurora basics. This slide is pretty telling. The reason for Yellowknife being known as the aurora capital of the world is explained in this chart. Specifically, the location of Yellowknife. It's situated underneath the aurora oval with the highest percentage of seeing the lights, and due to its proximity inland and away from the ocean and located on flat land away from any mountains, the skies are generally free of overcast and cloud, which is normally caused by moisture in the air. In this chart, you will see data from 2010 to 2016. This tells us the peak months for aurora viewing are January, February, and March, which also happen to be the coldest months in the Northwest Territories, which makes sense because the skies are so clear and the aurora is so visible. October, no surprise, is the least likely month of seeing the aurora due to the warmer temperatures in the air and the cooler ground temperatures. At the bottom of this chart, for those who have incredible eyesight, you will be able to identify the best times to view the aurora. Now, the best times shown here is from 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning. This data also shows us during the six-year period of data collection, there were a total of 1,371 nights available for viewing the aurora. And of that, there were a total of 1,143 nights in which the aurora was visible. Of this, there is a remainder of 228 nights. 224 of those nights, the skies were too cloudy, and only four nights in the entire 6-year range were there no aurora visible on a clear night. The Northwest Territories are separated by 5 regions. The first region is the North Slave region, highlighted in the map within the slide on the bottom right corner, The North Slave region is also home to Yellowknife, which is the NWT's capital city, and home to Great Slave Lake, which is also the deepest lake in North America and the 8th largest fresh body of water in the world. This is an aerial shot of Yellowknife downtown. The top right is an image of the iconic hotel called the Explorer Hotel, which has hosted Prince William and Kate in 2011 while on their royal honeymoon tour of Canada. This hotel is currently undergoing renovations in their conference center and are adding an additional rooming wing. Current room count is 187 rooms, and after the renovations are complete, there will be a total of 263 rooms. The renovations are expected to be completed this fall. Now, I had a meeting with the Explorer Hotel sales rep before I went on holiday, and they had advised me that 127 of their current rooms are going to be refurbished, as well as the 72 new rooms. One of that 72 rooms will include an Aurora suite at the top of the hotel. Now, the below image is the famous fish and chips restaurant, Bullock's Bistro. Reader's Digest has named them the best fish and chips in all of Canada. In terms of Aurora viewing facilities, the most popular is Aurora Village. Unfortunately, your guests cannot sleep overnight in these lit teepees for now. Instead, each group is assigned their own private teepee for the duration of the Aurora viewing tour, which is generally 4 hours long with an option to extend if desired. Aurora Village primarily caters to the Asian market and can host up to 500 guests each night during their peak season. Aurora hunting is another option for those who choose a different aurora viewing experience. Aurora hunting is relatively new and consists of driving in a heated vehicle chasing down the aurora from different parts of the city. So if you're looking to remove yourself from the hustle and bustle of the city and large aurora viewing crowds, a wilderness lodge is the perfect way to escape and disconnect from the ordinary. In this image here, that's Blatchford Lake Lodge, which is one of the premier aurora viewing wilderness lodge facilities, and they operate year-round. During the cold winter months, Canada Goose winter clothing is provided as a rental option. This includes a down goose parka, snow pants, and snow boots. When booking with a local supplier and embarking on their tour, they will deliver your winter clothing rental to your accommodation prior to checking in. So you can see that all bundled up in one of the images on that slide. Other winter activities to keep you busy during the day include dog sledding, snowmobile tours, ice fishing tours, snowshoeing, igloo building, and exploring the snow castle. If winter's not your thing, in the summer months, you'll enjoy 24 hours of constant daylight, perfect for all those all-night fishing trips or relaxing at a wilderness lodge. Other activities during the summer are midnight golfing, where you can tee off at midnight, hiking, boat tours, Aboriginal cultural experiences, and of course, road travel, as the NWT is largely vast in size. Now on to the Western Arctic. This region is the furthest region of the Northwest Territories. Communities you may be familiar with in this region are the town of Inuvik and the town of Tuktoyaktuk. This region is also home to the famed Dempster Highway, which originates in Dawson City, Yukon. The entire route is approximately 740 kilometers in length from Dawson City to Inuvik. While driving this road, you cross over 2 rivers using a ferry, one of which is the longest river in Canada. You also cross the Arctic Circle, which is an accomplishment in itself. In November of 2017, a new highway was opened from Inuvik to the small community of Tuktoyaktuk. This community borders the Arctic Ocean, and what's really exciting is that for the first time ever in Canadian history, there's a road connecting to the Arctic Ocean. Parks Canada, along with the Transportation Department in the Government of the Northwest Territories, are working to incorporate more signs and stops along the new highway. This stop in particular will be to take in the beauty of a pingo. For those who don't know what a pingo is, a pingo forms when a pressure of freezing groundwater pushes up a layer of frozen ground. In Canada, pingos are only found in the Northwest Territories and can change and shift each year in size. The most famous pingo in the Northwest Territories is Ebuk, pictured here. In the Western Arctic, you will be immersed by the local Indigenous culture. There are fascinating drummers and dancers that put on a fantastic show and explain their deep-rooted culture. So moving on to the Sahtu region, highlighted here in that map on the screen. The Sahtu region is the most popular with our adventure travelers. This region is home to Great Bear Lake and the 9th largest fresh body of water. This region is known for adventurous hikers who wish to tackle the Knoll Trail, experienced hunters looking for muskox or Dall sheep, or experienced paddlers. There are multiple different operators or suppliers who take their guests paddling through the Sahtu. The Coppermine River, the Keel River, and the Mountain River trips all span over multiple days with experienced guides with massive amounts of knowledge of the history of the rivers and how to utilize the natural resources. These trips are definitely trips of a lifetime. As you can see here, the landscape is most untouched in this region, perfect for photography and exploring. Now onto the Dehcho region. It's one of the more popular regions due to it being home of the Nahanni National Park Reserve. This region is also popular for travelers who enjoy road travel or RV travel, as you can easily get here from Alberta, BC, or the Yukon. This image here is Virginia Falls within the Nahanni National Park. This park sees less than 1,000 visitors a year, as it is only accessible through air travel or boat. To give you some perspective, these waterfalls are double in height of Niagara Falls in Ontario. When taking a tour of this park and these falls, a float plane will land above the falls and you will enjoy a 30-minute walk around the falls on a well-maintained boardwalk. There are also trails to the base of the falls depending on how long your time is on the tour. There are different tours within the park, and you can easily spend a full day exploring the Nahanni. There are rocks and peaks, valleys and rivers that hold a lot of history, which your pilot and tour guide will share with you. This park was also the first UNESCO World Heritage Site, dubbed in the 1970s. In this slide, it shows you a road map of this region. And you can see the road goes all the way to the town of Fort Simpson, in which you will take an aircraft to fly from Fort Simpson into the Nahanni National Park. This is my favorite spot in the park. This is called Glacier Lake, and the mountain in the background is the Cirque of the Unclimables. The photo doesn't do it any justice, as you can't see how blue that water is, which is also formed from a melting glacier behind that mountain. The last region I will touch on today is the South Slave. This region is most popular for road travelers, and it is often referred to as the Waterfalls and Wildlife Route. This region borders with Alberta and shares Wood Buffalo National Park with them. Here is a map of the region. As you can see, that thick gray line is the NWT border, following 3 waterfall rest stops along the road. Brake to the right of the fork and the road will take you through Ice Pilot's home of Hay River and the town of Fort Smith. Brake to the left and the road will lead you north to Yellowknife and the Bison Sanctuary, where you can see buffalo on the side of the road. So I wanted to add this slide just to show you the spectacular boardwalks and the viewing points at the rest stops along the highway. This is an aerial shot of the salt plains within Wood Buffalo National Park. The salt plains are similar to the Dead Sea, in which the salt rises from the Earth's crust to create a salted layer that you can walk on and explore. I highly recommend taking off your shoes and enjoying a natural pedicure. These are some of the different wildlife that you may see in the NWT. The first image is of a muskox, the middle of a reindeer, and the last image is a bison or buffalo. There is a whooping crane sanctuary protected by Parks Canada in the South Slave region. This bird species were nearing extinction, and they have been single-handedly brought back by the locals. The last image in this slide is of a Dall sheep. The Chateau Nova is the newest hotel in the NWT. There are a total of 141 rooms and is currently the largest hotel. This hotel offers in-room dining as well as on-site restaurant and lounge. There are conference and meeting facilities that hold up to 500 delegates, and it's a 5-minute walking distance from downtown Yellowknife. I added this slide here just to give you some perspective to differentiate from the rendering. This is a shot of the outside of the hotel, along with one of the rooms on the inside. The Capitol Suites is another hotel in Yellowknife and in Inuvik that just recently underwent renovations to the suites and the kitchens. Our local restaurants are quite eclectic. Enjoy a bug-repellent IPA or a honey bucket nut brown brew at the local brew pub, or enjoy fantastic local delicacies at a number of our restaurants. There are also restaurants that serve sushi, Korean barbecue, Ethiopian food, Indian, Chinese hot pot, and a Japanese bakery. So this is Blatchford Lake Lodge, new at Blatchford this year as of December 2017. 2 of their handcrafted cabins are being outfitted with high-tech en-suites, composting toilets, and wash basins. For the comfort of the more remote cabins, being built is the world's first Aurora Comfort Station, which is a heated toilet facility and wash basin fitted with a skylight, so you can enjoy the northern lights at any time. The Aurora Comfort Station will be in operation as of the winter 2018 season, which was December 2017. As of December that year, all cabins have been outfitted with 3 feature windows, excellent for aurora viewing from inside your cabin, or perfect for watching the long summer evenings. The lodge and all cabins enjoy free wireless internet and are all non-smoking. New for winter 2017-18 is a heated ice fishing experience with Yellowknife Outdoor Adventures. There are multiple heated ice fishing facilities around Great Slave Lake that you can rent and enjoy an afternoon of ice fishing for pike and lake trout. Also new for Yellowknife Outdoor Adventures is their guided snowmobile tours. They are able to accommodate from anywhere from 2 to 30 passengers at a time. There are some summer festivals to watch for in the Northwest Territories. There is the Great Northern Arts Festival in Inuvik every year that showcases local art from all across the north. Also watch for Folk on the Rocks, a must-see music festival in Yellowknife with 24 hours of daylight. It is the perfect time to spend your summer traveling in the Northwest Territories. Our winter festivals are fun too. Throughout the month of March, on a frozen Great Slave Lake, a large snow castle is open to the public and made by a large group of volunteers. This is called the Snow King Festival. It also coincides with the Long John Jamboree, which occurs at the end of March to signal the end of winter. But not actually, because our ice and snow hangs around until the end of May. The Long John Jamboree Festival holds also an international ice carving competition, along with music and games. Okay, and so I also have a questionnaire, or 3 questions that I'll send out in the follow-up emails, and whoever answers it correctly, I think the top 10 that return back to me, I'll be able to mail you out a souvenir license plate, which is in the shape of a polar bear. So I also just want to thank you for your time this morning. I know you're all very busy, so I appreciate you listening to me share my enthusiasm of the North. And I'll pass it over to you, Charlie.
Thanks, Shannon. Wonderful presentation. Such a fascinating place. Thank you so much. So everybody, the floor is open for questions. If you do have any questions for Shannon, please type them into the chat box. If you did send a question previously before I got booted out by WebEx, please send it again because all of my messages have disappeared. So any questions, yep, just type them in. Shannon, I just want to know, what's it like to live in the 24 hours of daylight? Is that pretty amazing?
It's pretty unreal. There are times where I'm having a barbecue with friends over on the back deck, and you know, it's 11 o'clock at night, and you don't even realize it because it just feels like 5 o'clock in the evening. And so you look at your watch, and you're like, okay, everyone has to go home because I have to work tomorrow. So you get pretty lost in the summertime up here for sure.
Awesome, that's fascinating. Linda says, thanks, Shannon and Charlie. Natalia says, hi, Shannon. Can you please include some of the names of the parks and cities that you mentioned? I'm unsure of the spelling. Yeah, that's fair enough, Natalia. What we'll do is I have a copy of the presentation, so I'll PDF the slides and I'll Dropbox it to you all. So, yeah, you can have a copy of all the slides. And then, of course, we will do the follow-up email, as Shannon mentioned. So she'll also send out some extra information as well.
Yeah, I'll include the names of the parks and of the hotels and of some of the restaurants and operators, just so you have that listed there so you're not frantically trying to remember everything that I'm saying.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, no other questions. We will sign off there. As Shannon said, thank you all so much for joining us. Have a great day and hope to see you next time.